The Dust Bowl was a severe environmental disaster that unfolded during the 1930s in the central United States, primarily affecting the Great Plains region. It was characterized by a series of intense dust storms that caused widespread ecological and agricultural devastation, displacing thousands of families and reshaping the landscape. Several factors converged to create the conditions for the Dust Bowl. One significant contributor was poor land management practices, particularly the widespread cultivation of the prairie grasses that had historically held the soil in place. Farmers, enticed by government incentives and the demand for wheat during World War I, plowed vast areas of native grassland to increase agricultural production. The introduction of mechanized farming, such as the use of tractors and plows, further accelerated the process. The traditional practice of leaving fields fallow or rotating crops to preserve soil nutrients was often abandoned in favor of continuous cultivation. As a result, the delicate balance of the prairie ecosystem was disrupted, leaving the soil exposed and vulnerable to erosion. A critical factor in the Dust Bowl was a series of severe droughts that plagued the region. Beginning in the early 1930s, a combination of natural climate variability and human-induced environmental changes led to a prolonged period of reduced rainfall. The lack of moisture, combined with high temperatures and overcultivation, caused the topsoil to dry out and become powdery. The first major dust storm hit in 1931, and the situation rapidly escalated in the following years. The storms, often referred to as black blizzards, were massive clouds of soil that darkened the skies and carried away vast quantities of topsoil. The impacted area extended from the Texas Panhandle to the Dakotas and from the Mississippi River Valley to the Rocky Mountains. The effects of the Dust Bowl were devastating on multiple fronts. Agriculture, the primary livelihood of the region, collapsed as crops withered and topsoil blew away. Livestock suffered from malnutrition as forage became scarce. The health of residents in affected areas was compromised, as the fine dust particles inhaled during the storms caused respiratory issues, known as dust pneumonia, and other health problems. The socio-economic consequences were profound. Many families, unable to sustain themselves on the barren land, were forced to abandon their homes and migrate in search of better opportunities. These migrants, often referred to as Okies regardless of their actual origin, headed westward, with California becoming a primary destination. The influx of displaced families strained resources in the receiving states and fueled social tensions. In response to the crisis, the federal government implemented various relief and conservation measures. The Soil Conservation Service was established to promote soil conservation practices, including the planting of windbreaks and the adoption of contour plowing to prevent erosion. The Civilian Conservation Corps, CCC, also played a role in implementing these measures and providing employment to those affected by the economic fallout. Over time, the Dust Bowl began to subside as the rains returned, and conservation efforts took hold. The experience, however, left an enduring impact on American agricultural practices and environmental policy. The lessons learned from the Dust Bowl contributed to the development of more sustainable farming methods and increased awareness of the importance of conservation in preserving the health of the land. The Dust Bowl was a catastrophic environmental event fueled by a combination of natural and human-induced factors. It serves as a stark reminder of the delicate balance between human activities and the environment, as well as the potential consequences of unsustainable land management practices. The enduring legacy of the Dust Bowl lies in its role as a catalyst for changes in agricultural and environmental policy, highlighting the need for responsible stewardship of the land to prevent similar ecological disasters in the future.